This is a video about the law of sines. First and foremost, you need your formula. A over sine of A equals B over sine of B is equal to C over sine of C, where these guys are the sides and all of these guys refer to the angles. So that whole thing is proportion. You can use any part of it. You can use those two, cross multiply and solve for something. You can use those two, cross multiply and solve for something, or you can use A and C, cross multiply and solve whatever you're solving for. I went ahead and wrote out the notes. Feel free to pause this video and copy down anything that you need. Your steps are pretty straightforward. Draw a random triangle in any shape or any size. I tend to use an equilateral triangle just for a shape. Label the angles in any order, so I'm going to label this generally in this order. A, then B, then C. Make that a terrible color, just so it's definitely different. And the point of doing that is so that you know side A is across from angle A. So naturally angle B and side B are going to be across from each other, and this terrible puke color is going to be across from itself. So there's your angles and the sides. That is the general setup of your triangle. I tend to, like I said, always use this motion, clockwise rotation, A, then B, then C, X, Y, Z, whatever. It doesn't matter, just put it on the triangle and label your sides across from the angles. First and foremost, you need to make sure you have two pairs of sides and angles in order to do this formula. So if you don't have two pairs, you must solve for the missing angle. These are examples when you are finding the side. Make sure you use just the regular trig ratio with sine, this trig formula. So I have a random equilateral triangle. I'm going to label this A, B, C. Like I said, I'm generally going to go in that order. Angle A is 118 degrees. Angle B is 22 degrees. And side C is 24. So you can get a lot actually from the problem. If I know I am finding side B, I definitely need angle B. That is for sure. The next angle I have is angle A, so obviously I need side A. Or if I'm given side C, I need angle C. So you can get a lot from your information before you even get started. So I'll jot that in, that I either need side A or I need angle C. And of the two of them, the easier one to solve for is the missing angle, because we know that we can say 180 minus our two measurements that they gave us will give us that angle measure of 40 degrees. So because of that, I know that that 40 can go right here. And for my visual darlings, I am looking for side B. So I like to circle my pairs. There is one of them. I have an angle and a side. And there is the other one. I have an angle and a side. So make sure that if you prefer to do that, you have two pairs in your triangle to create your proportion. So from that, I can go ahead and set up my formula. I'm going to say side B across from sine of angle B is equal to side C over the angle. All right. From there, once you get your two pairs, you set up your proportion, cross multiply. I get X sine of 40 is equal to 24 sine of 22. Cross multiply. I'm going to divide out my sine of 40, because just like anything else, I need to get X by itself, or in this case, this is my side B. So I'm going to be a little bit more clear about what it is I'm looking for. So side B is all of this typed in the calculator. Good thing about this, if you are unsure about the calculator, you can type this in one step at a time and then divide that by the sine of 40, and 13.987, or however far out you're going to go, make sure you round it appropriately, would be your solution. If you are calculator savvy, you can actually type this whole thing in at one time and you clearly get the same solution, the 13.967. So the answer to this one, we're just going to take this out to the tenths place, is 13.98. That 8 is going to round that 9 up. So this is about 14.0 units. Pretty straightforward. For the second part, I've got more examples, and then I've got examples where you actually use the inverse. So we are finding C. So automatically I know I need to have angle C. I know angle B is 44 degrees, so if I know side B, I have everything that I need. So from the word problem, I actually have my proportion, but I am never above drawing a picture. I feel like the picture takes the guesswork out. I have angle B at 44, angle C at 53, and side B at 7, and I'm finding side C, and there is one pair and there is the other. So the picture definitely clears that up if you're unsure about reading your word problem. So I'm going to set this up the same way as the side B. It doesn't matter where you start, I just kind of pick one. Sine of 44 is equal to sine, the side C, B is 7, that's why. That's a 7. C over sine of 53. You can't solve this if you have two variables, so I knew that something was up. Same thing, I'm going to cross multiply. I have sine of 44 times my C is equal to 7 times my sine of 53. Divide out my sine of 44. So side C is equal to 7 sine of 53 divided by sine of 44, and I get 8.0 units. Alright, so big takeaway from this is make sure you have your two pairs, the side over the angle. Alright, so moving on. I have examples where you will be finding the angle, and that is when you actually use sine inverse, and my little mnemonic device for that is when you are on the inside of your triangle, you are going to solve using the inverse. So inside, inverse. Alright, so I am finding angle A, which means I need side A. That's good so far. I know angle C, and I have side C, so if you are good to go with that, there is all of your information. You don't even need the triangle. But doesn't hurt. A, B, C. C is 128. Again, obviously I know that's not 128 angle. It does not matter. It's just a matter of making sure you get your pairs. So C is 128. A is what I'm looking for. Side A is 11. Side B is 33. And side C is 25. I have that pair. And I have this pair. Obviously the 33 is useless information, so don't get tricked by that last piece of information and try to use it even though you can't. It has no purpose in all of this. Setting this up the same way, I say side A over sine of angle A is equal to side C over sine of angle C. So I think for a general rule, I think I just start in alphabetical order. So A comes before C, so I think I just generally start with A. B comes before C, so I started with my B ratio if you want something to kind of start and stick with. Alright, so at this point, I'm still going to cross multiply, and I get 25 sine of A is equal to 11 sine of 128. I'm going to divide out my 25, and I'm left with sine of A is equal to all of that. I'm going to go ahead and type that in my calculator as 11 sine of 128 divided by 25, and I get 0.3467 blah blah blah. 3467247 and this is where the inverse comes into play. So you say angle A is equal to the inverse, and instead of typing that whole entire decimal in, I'm gonna just use the answer function on my calculator like this. So I say second sine inverse is above your sine button, and you hit second negative, and that A and S is right there. That stands for the answer, and that way you are using the entire decimal. You hit enter, and there is your solution, 20.3 degrees. Generally, your degree angles are going to be the whole numbers, but just round it however far out the question is going to say. So running back through this one more time, again, you still want your pairs. You're going to set it up the same way, cross multiply the same way. This time we're not dividing out the sine angle that we had before. We have the side. So I'm going to divide the side out, so I'm left with the angle. You can't break that up unless you do the inverse. So I divide out my 25, I get 11 sine 128 divided by 25, and I get this decimal. I say sine inverse of that answer, and again, that's second sine second negative button with parentheses, and then hit enter, and that's going to give you that answer. All right, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and draw my triangle for the consistency of always using a triangle. Again, I'm going to go in clockwise rotation, ABC. Angle A is 28 degrees. Side A is across from there at 29. Side B is 24, and side C is 20. I am finding angle C. So just like before, there is one pair, and there is the other. That 24 is useless. I'm going to set that up as A over sine of A is equal to C over sine of C. Same thing, cross multiply. 29 sine of C is equal to 20 sine of 28. Divide out the 29 on both sides, and I know this is going to be an inverse. I'm going to type the 20 sine of 28 divided by 29. I get 0.323 blah blah. 32377349116. I say angle C is equal to the inverse of my answer, which is going to be about. So again, I hit second sine second negative, enter, and there's my answer, 18.9. It's about 18.9 degrees. If they say round it to the whole number, obviously that's going to be 19 degrees.